Welcome to 4 Cover, and this is going to be a first of a series of videos where we introduce the new wireless security system from, again, 4 Cover. It is a 4-channel wireless camera system, DIY, very easy to set up for the home or small business user. Again, Wi-Fi. There's a second option which has a built-in monitor, and we'll cover that in a separate video. Features include an app for both the iPhone and Android devices, and those are available on the App Store or the Google Store. And let's start right in here, and let's get this device opened up, or the box opened up rather, and we'll get going. First, I'm going to remove the base unit. The unit features a power light to show when it's powered on, a hard drive indicator light to let you know when there's activity on the hard drive. On the rear is the interface. You have a VGA interface, you have an HDMI, you have 2 USB ports, and you also have the power input. There is also 2 5 dB Wi-Fi antennas on the rear. It's very well constructed, and in a separate video I'll show you how to open and install a hard drive for your video storage. Next, we have the accessory packet. Included in the accessory package is a 1 high power antenna for those cameras that are located just a little bit extra distance from your base unit. Also included are 3 decibel antennas, and those are for just standard Wi-Fi operation on the cameras. I'll show you installing them later on. Wired mouse for controlling the unit. Waterproof adapters should you want to connect the cameras wired. And then power supplies. There's power supplies for each of the cameras, as well as a power supply for the base unit. This particular kit features 4 Wi-Fi bullet cameras. Now these cameras are metal housed. As I say, the cameras have a metal housing. They have an adapter to the rear for the Wi-Fi. They feature an indicator light should you connect them wired, power adapter with the power supplies, 3 infrared LEDs, as well as a light sensor that will be used to switch the camera across to infrared, black and white at night or in low light situations. Now let's install the hard drive. First, remove the 4 screws so we can take the cover off. Let's install first the SATA drive cable, and then we install the power cable. We then want to secure the hard drive to the bottom of the case. Do this by aligning the holes in the bottom of the case and using the 4 screws that are provided to attach the hard drive. Now that the hard drive is installed, let's reinstall the cover. Just slip the cover on, secure it in the front, and install the 4 screws that were removed when you took the cover off initially. Welcome back to 4Core, and we'll continue the setup of the DIY wireless 4-camera, 4-channel NVR. Let's first connect our output, video output, HDMI. We will then connect our RJ45 Cat5 cable to your network. That should be plugged into your router. Next connection in order will be the connection of the mouse into one of your USB ports. And then final connection is our power cable. Finally, if you're not using an HDMI output, you can always use a VGA output. Okay, we're at 4Core again, and now we're going to power up the unit. You'll get a tone as the system powers on. You'll also get a power indicator light. Now, let's the system initialize. Okay, the system's initialized, and now we have our 4-window output on the system. The first window you're going to be presented with is the auto configuration network window. You'll be presented with the login window once the system is initialized. Login is very, very simple. Default username is admin. There is no password as a default. Just select OK. Okay, now we're going to unpack and review the 4-channel Wi-Fi NVR kit from 4Cover. This will be the unit that we're going to unbox. It has the 12.5-inch display built into the receiver. The unit also comes as a 8-channel system. And what we're going to do is we're just going to unbox the 4-channel just now. But please note that it does come as an 8-channel system. So let's unbox this system. First to be removed from the box is the actual NVR. This NVR has a 12.5-inch 1080p screen built in. We have 2 5 dB antennas. On the rear, we have a stand. The stand can be configured for different viewing angles. This unit here is where we install the hard drive, and we'll cover that at a later point. What we want to review now is the connectivity on the side of the unit. Working from the right, we have the power, we have the USB, we have the network connection, and finally, we have HDMI output. On the front of the unit, we have the power button for the screen. Once this unit is powered up, it is always on, so you never have to worry about not recording anything. You'll see a power light and an HDD indicator light. As we continue to unbox, next, accessories. Features high power antenna, and this will be used for when the Wi-Fi camera is a little bit further away from the base unit. This will get you enough signal. We have 4 antennas for the Wi-Fi cameras, which I'll unbox momentarily. A Cat5 cable, which we'll use for what's covered in the instruction manual as match code. And that's when we add additional cameras to the system. Then we have the power supplies. Large power supply for the base unit, and then 4 smaller supplies for each of the cameras. There's also some accessories here for mounting the cameras. We'll have an Allen wrench for allowing us to adjust the angle of view of the camera. And then if you are or do find it necessary to connect or want to connect your cameras via cable, Cat5 cable, then we have waterproof adapters here for where the cable is connected. Next is the actual camera itself. These are bullet cameras. Cameras are bullet style cameras. Feature a metal housing, 1.3 megapixel, 3 infrared LEDs, plus a sensor for converting the camera to black and white once the light reduces at night. Wi-Fi adapter or antenna. And then on the cable end is power adapter, as well as if you connect via cable, we have a activity light to show that you have network connectivity. Cameras are adjusted using an Allen wrench in multiple axes. It's a nice camera, very robust. To review, the 4-channel unit featuring the 12.5-inch high-definition screen comes from the factory already configured and installed with a 1 terabyte drive. The 8-channel system, however, with the 12.5-inch high-definition screen does not come with a hard drive. You're going to have to install your own hard drive. So let's review how we install a hard drive in the system, and this is applicable if, with the 4-channel system, you find it necessary to replace the hard drive or you wish to increase the capacity of the hard drive. So let's place the system flat on a surface, 2 screws on the back here, and we'll unscrew the back panel to access where we're going to install the hard drive. Panel comes off. There's clips on the left-hand side here that fit into 3 notches on the left. That will secure it when we're putting it back in again. Turn over the unit and then match your hard drive to the back panel. Now we just secure it using the 4 screws that are provided. Once properly secured, we're going to connect the cables. 2 cables, 1 power cable, and 1 SATA cable. With the hard drive secured, cables plugged in, let's add the back again. Place the back in using the notches, and then tighten the screws back down again. Hard drive installed, system ready to fire back up again. On the side here, we have the power, USB, network, HDMI. Let's first plug in our network cable. This is the cable that you're going to have connected to your home network, preferably your router, to be able to get access to the unit. Next, we're going to plug in the mouse. This will give us access and control over the menu. Finally, we're going to power up the unit. Let's power up the unit. And the initial screen you'll see is a system initialization screen. This is going to take a couple of seconds while the system initializes, configures, and then we'll be presented with a menu option to start the wizard. After system initialization, you'll be presented with the logon screen. Default password is admin. There is no password on this screen unless you configure that at a later point. Once you select OK, you'll be presented with the setup wizard. Here you have 3 QR codes. 2 of the codes are for links to the app stores for both Android and iOS. You'll also have your option here for your cloud ID for the actual unit that you'll use later on to be able to access the camera from your phone or tablet. On this screen here, you'll have time. You'll also have your language choices and then keyboard type. These are pretty self-explanatory, and you should be able to pick through what you need without any problem. Next screen is network. Here you have standard option, auto configuration, which is DHCP, and as the unit's plugged into your network, it's going to get an IP address from your router. No port forwarding is required. This unit has technology built into it which allows you to connect directly to the cloud so you can access the system from your phone or tablet. Here you'll see that we have a healthy network status, which means we have a valid IP address as well as connectivity to the cloud. Hit next. Here we have the hard drive status. Once you've installed your hard drive, this is where you're going to select to format your hard drive. That'll get you a hard drive that's 100% formatted and ready for your data storage. Then we select Done. It's going to save the configuration, and the unit's ready to have cameras added to it so that you can view on your phone or tablet. Now that the system has been initialized and set up, we're going to raise the antennas, give us the best signal we can get, and then we're going to take the cameras and power them up using the enclosed power supplies. The system has already been pre-configured at the factory. These cameras have already been hooked up to the system, pre-configured. So it's as simple as just powering up the unit, powering up the cameras, and then letting the system configure, and the video will appear on your screens very shortly. We have 2 cameras configured automatically on the system. These were already configured at the factory. They came up very quickly. Now we have a situation where we purchase an additional camera, another channel. This is where we have to use the feature called match code. What we'll do is we'll use the enclosed network cable that we can plug into the unit. We then power up the camera. And then we have to go to the system menu and use the configuration. Let's add the 3rd camera that we just purchased. Start the menu, video manage. Camera's plugged in, powered up. Let's select refresh. And now the system is going to scan the network to identify that 3rd camera that we've just added. Here we go, camera's already been found. Now, with the camera selected, hit match code. It's going to ask us if we're sure we want to add it to the system. We're going to say yes, and we're going to add the camera to the system. Now, the camera is being configured with the necessary information to add it to the system, and straight away, we see the camera added online. It's that simple. Now for the 4th camera, we have a situation where the Wi-Fi isn't strong enough for us to be able to connect to the camera. So we're going to use a Cat5 cable. So for us to configure the camera, we're going to go to Video Manage again. We've got the camera plugged in and powered up via Cat5 cable. We're going to hit refresh. We're going to let the system search for the camera. Again, these cameras purchased from 4Cover are specially designed to work with this system. Here we have found the camera. When the camera is connected via Cat5 cable, we're going to use the function Auto Add. And let's select that now. System is going to prompt us to ask us if we're sure to continue. We're going to say yes. It's going to ask us if we want to modify the IP. Yes. System's going to do its magic now and add the IP camera. Updating system configuration, and now we have all 4 cameras on the system. Straightforward, easy. Now, included with this kit is a 5 dB external antenna for use with the cameras. This is for the camera that's probably furthest away from your system and may have the weakest signal. This antenna connects very similar to the other antennas. Just screw this onto the camera and you have an extension to be able to locate this antenna away from the camera to get you the best reception. With the 4-camera kit, you get 1 high-power antenna. With the 8-channel kit, you get 2 of these external antennas. And they're additional if you wish to purchase them after the kit. Now let's cover configuring motion detection settings. Right-click, get the menu, System Setup, Channel Setup, Video Detection. Here's where you select the channel. Detection is motion, sensitivity is high, and alarm duration is 5 seconds. Options is for handle. This is where we can get an email notice and we can get an alarm on the app. Arming time. This is where we can set specific schedules as to when the system will notify us of an alarm. Now let's do the motion detection. Area edit. As a default, the system comes already configured for 100% motion detection on the screen. We can modify that. Right-click, clear all. Now you'll be presented with a grid, and here we can just select, let's select just this car. We'll drag the mouse, release. That's that area selected. Now if there's any motion in that area, we're going to get an alarm. Right-click, return, apply. System is going to configure. We're good to get out of the menu now. Now let's configure System Setup, the record setup. Select record, select channel, select what schedule you want. We have any particular day or we have every day. So we're going to select every day and we're going to select motion as being what we wish to record. Hit apply, configuration. Press OK to get out of that menu. Let's go back in to video playback now. Select video playback. Now we have the option for 5, 10, 30-minute playbacks of the last 5, 10, 30 minutes, or we have the capability of doing a manual search. We can pick all channels or we can pick single channels. We can have manual, time, or motion. With the motion selected, if we pick a search time, a search date, and a time, and we hit search, we will be presented with segments on this bar that will indicate when motion was recorded. We can select one of those bars, and then we can hit playback, and we'll see the recorded motion. For those users that wish to access the recorder via an internet browser, please start your browser and then go to website www.ecnet.com. Once the website launches, I'm going to change my language to English. You have the option of logging in via username or Cloud ID. So let's first use Cloud ID. Cloud ID you can find from your system recorder, and that is a Cloud ID that you used on the phone app.
Let's enter Cloud ID. Let's enter admin as our password. Default, no password. Let's log in. And then first time when we run this browser, we're going to have to enable the ActiveX controller. So let's run that. Restart the browser. And then log back in again using our Cloud ID. Once we're in the system, you're automatically going to see what cameras are on your recorder because we're accessing via Cloud ID. Here you can review and play back any video that's on the recorder. Now let's exit and let's go back in through the website using the username that we already created on the phone app. So you've created a username on the phone app, you've registered. We're going to access the system now, or our recorder rather, via username and password. And remember, using the phone app is where we've added the recorder. Now that the recorder was added via the phone app, it's going to appear in the window, and there's our video from the recorder. Again, you can review, playback video from the recorder. That's it. Let's deal with the app for the system. Let's first check that we have internet connectivity. We've just confirmed that we have internet connectivity. Now we can go to the Play Store and we can search for the app, and the name is IP Pro. Let's download and install the app. This will just take a few seconds, depending on your connection speed. App is now installing. Let's open this app. And now, if you don't already have an account with IP Pro, we have to register. So let's register and let's put in a username. Let's enter a password. We're going to register. We'll receive an email. You'll get a notice to tell you that the mailbox has been sent. And now we're going to add the device. Just tap on a screen and add a device by ID. We're going to scan the QR code of the device. Now this is where you can get a chance to call your device anything. I'm just going to call it test system. You can call it anything you want. Admin is the username. There's no password on this. Shortly, the system will load and you'll have access to all 4 cameras, or 2 cameras, or 1 camera, whatever you've got on your system. And here's your video. Within this app, you're going to have the opportunity to be able to watch your cameras live, and you can also do playback as well. And there you go. 2 cameras on the system.